Thank you for tuning in to Tamara for Georgia. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, your candidate for the United States Senate. I'm an independent Democrat that believes that reparations will make America great. It is time that we unite our country once and for all. Please go to my website. It's tamaraforgeorgia.com. And please join me every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here for Tamara for Georgia.
Good afternoon, Georgia. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, your candidate for the United States Senate, and I have the absolute pleasure of being here with the pastor, Litway Missionary Baptist Church, right here on Shell Road in the great and wonderful, beautiful city of Savannah, my hometown. Y'all know I'm straight up country. Pastor Smalls.
Hey, Precious, how are you?
I am wonderful, sir. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come and share on this broadcast with you. I'm just happy to be with you.
Well, listen, we're broadcasting several different ways. Ultimately, right now, we're simulcasting on our radio station, WTLD FM 90.5. Shout out to Anna Davis, our manager, putting us on. And we're going to be playing it on delay on WSLT 88.5 out of Statesboro and on WKBQ, the Gospel from Me to You, out of Edenton. Out of Edenton. So we're going to Edenton.
Right next door, Sparta.
Okay, Sparta. So I just want everybody to know, everywhere we got Middle and South Georgia covered like a blanket.
All right. What a blessing. What a blessing. It is an absolute pleasure. This is a beautiful ground here at this Litway Missionary Baptist Church. It's a beautiful church, everybody. We'll have some pictures. We just got the camera going right now. We'll have some pictures. Beautiful church, sir.
Amen. Well, the Lord showed it to me before I built it.
Ooh, won't he do it?
Did you hear it before I built it?
Amen.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the Lord has given us gifts. Preaching, teaching, but more importantly, loving and caring. And so a lot of times people think of gifts only as things like singing and things of that nature, but it's just a heart to care for children or for those who are depressed, underprivileged, or even being assaulted in their nation like Ukraine.
Yes.
The heart to care for humankind is a gift from God.
Amen. And the heart to serve others, yes, as you do, sir, is the gift.
Well, the term minister has never meant what people think it is. It's never meant high class, big person in the community, person who runs the church. That's not what the word minister means. The word minister means servant. And worse than that, it doesn't mean anything else. And so as you've embarked on this campaign to become, quote unquote, senator, my advice as an elder is keep the ministry in it, keep the servant in it. And that's the issue that we're going to be talking. Even as we speak, we're going to be talking about how do we serve people, circumstances, the least, and those who are left behind. That's what we need politicians for. The other people can fend for themselves. They've got, and they're getting, but those who fall in the cracks is really what government's about.
Amen. And that is why I want and have this burning desire to serve. It won't leave me. My sister, when this came to me, Pastor, I remember the morning that God put it in my spirit that she would have run, and I'm like, and I called my sister, Pastor, and I was in tears, and I said, I can't shake it. It's just gonna go away. And she said to me, "Why would you?"
I like that. I like
And
that.
I've just been on this journey ever since.
You know, Moses would have shook going to Egypt.
You better say it.
Okay, you know, Ruth would have cooked, would have shook off going before the king.
Yes.
All right, but some of us are born for times such as this, and I've had to go up against sand ballots and Goliaths all my life, particularly since I've been in ministry. But we want we want everybody to know, first of all, that this young lady, born and bred, raised and fed here in the city of Savannah, but having matriculated to other parts of the state, is running for Senate. Now, it's going to surprise a lot of our audience, a lot of our supporters around Georgia, to understand that she's running against, in the Democratic primary, Raphael Warnock. So, Pastor Small, you've known Raphael Warnock since he was 4 or 5 years old. Your mother's beauty shop is down the street from his mother's church. So what are you doing? What I'm doing is I'm supporting the efforts of a person because I believe that everybody has a right to run for any office in these United States. The offices don't belong to anyone. And while it is, I'm a realist, I'm gonna tell it like it is, guy, but you never know what might happen because God made water stand up like walls. So I need you to understand and understand it perfectly. I'm sitting here because I believe that everybody deserves a fair chance, and the public deserves an opportunity to weigh choices. If she wasn't in the race, there wouldn't be another choice on the Democratic side. I met her on the phone and doing her first race, and then when I talked to her again, we had to talk a little while. Then I said, "I know you," and then and that's when we started talking. And she came here. We were supposed to be a couple other places, but we ended up here at Litway Missionary Baptist Church on the mighty metropolis of Savannah, Georgia, on the extraordinarily historic Shell Road. Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
This is the Shell Road. Yes, sir. This road used to be nothing but oyster shells.
Got some fans in the background.
Yeah, we got some fans. Rooster, we're filming over here.
We heard all y'all conversating.
So anyway, and thank God for you because that's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
So what I want people to understand is you do have a choice. You can vote for Raphael or you can vote for Johnson Shield. You get a chance now. You get an option. If you vote in the Democratic primary, you can't vote in the Republican primary. You won't be able to vote for or against Purdue or Kent. If you vote in the Democratic primary, but you will be, if you have a choice in the race for Senate, you'll have a choice in other races, but most people don't know that they're going to have a choice in the race for Senate. Now, so Pastor doesn't think you look like you are on her side. You come to your own conclusion. The key to this is this stuff. Here's the thing. I'm not pleased with the fact that Raphael Warnock is basically functioning at 36,000 feet above. We've got issues here on the ground, and when he comes to Savannah, he swoops in, he swoops out. No talking to the community that really beat the bushes to get him elected. And when you're elected by less than 1% of the votes that are voted across the state, you cannot afford to lose enthusiastic support. You know, I'm saying this to every African American candidate in the state of Georgia in particular, but in the nation in general. You cannot run from your base. The most successful politician in the last 50 years was a man named William Jefferson Clinton. We called him Bill. And every time he got in any kind of a sticky wicket, he ran to his base. He would show up in a Black Baptist church somewhere. Now, my position is simply this. When has Raphael come to local Black Baptist churches? That says he does not consider them relevant, but he's counting on them to vote for him. That means you're taking it for granted. And so I'm here with Tamara to make sure that people are intelligently informed. I am the tell it like it is guy. And if I tell you a puppy can pull a freight train, hook him up. That's just the way it goes. And this should be a heads up to every politician. Too often Black folk are elected folk who neglect it. That's become a theme that they get elected and they go and the counter community takes them to the yacht club, takes them out to the golf course, takes them to the big room uptown in the hotel, feed them foods that are exotic and cuisine that is gourmet, and they lose sight of the people that they have to count on the next election. The reason we're in this parking lot is I want to remind our folks that we need to demand that our elected officials who count on us to vote, we can count on them to see about us. And it's really that plain. Now, when you and I talked, you brought up some issues. What are some of your core issues? Priorities.
My priorities, absolutely. At my core, I recognize that the data shows that by 2053, Black America will have zero net wealth.
Zero
Net wealth. This was pre-COVID data. We're about 13% of this population, but we only have about 2.6% of this nation's wealth.
Wait a minute now. I want you to slow down because I want people to understand what that really means. You know, the statistic being said, you know, and then we go to the next thing, but people need to absorb 13% of the population of the United States, 2% of the wealth, which means we only have 1%, a sixth, 1 in 6, 17% of the wealth that we should have if all things are equal. And that's not because we're lazy, not because we won't work hard, not because we're unintelligent. It is because we've been systemically left out, left behind, and disenfranchised.
And white America has 10 times the wealth of
10
Black.
times.
10 times the wealth of Black.
10 times.
10 times the wealth.
Let me do 10 times for a minute. So that means if I'm a Black guy and I got $10,000, the average white guy has got $100,000. Now, if we're in a fight, okay, and you're 10 times taller than me, you probably gonna win every time. Every time. You know, that's like that little short guy used to be on Fantasy Island. Fighting. They're playing. That's like him fighting Shaq. You know? And then the thing is, Shaq, knowing his strength and his size, taking advantage of it, slapping him around, kicking him around the room. Because that's really what's going on with us.
We have to be intentional about our repair. And again, like you just said, it's not our fault. This stems from slavery, Jim Crow, policing, no New Deal, no GI Bill,
Good God.
redlining, war on drugs, and mass incarceration.
You've been watching my show?
I've been following.
Woo! And listen, there is a systemic, inculcated psychological impairment in the African American community. And it ran all the way up. And I've been talking about this lately. All of it ran all the way up to the one half-black person who got elected president. Now watch this. Watch this. He could not psychologically fight the white power structure. He caved in and tried to get along with and compromise over and over and over and over and over again. And then when they got him to do concessions on what his plan was, they didn't give him one vote. And they did it to him over and over. And in his book, he points out the fact, and then he didn't, because of that mindset that came from Jim Crow, came from slavery, came from segregation, from that mindset that says in the cotton fields, boy, don't look that white man in the face. You're going to get us all killed. Okay? And so that mindset is still inculcated in us.
Let me put a pin right there with that. I have two sons, and I was at an event, and one of my sons was with me. He shook this white. This is maybe about less than 5 years ago. He shook this white man's hand, and when he shook the white man's hand, the white man looked at me and said, he looked me straight in my eyes, and I said, "Well, what was he supposed to do?"
And worse than that, you know what that white man was saying? It's the first time I had a black man shake my hand and look at my eyes. But this was rare for me. He's shaking grown black men's hand, ministers' hand, okay? And this fella noted the fact that all of a sudden this guy shook my hand and looked at me. Your son, having not received that home training, so-called, said, "Well, house, how you doing?" And the man's thinking that's rare for us. Now, now I'm gonna take it worse. Not only do black men not do it, black women don't do it. We've got to make sure that we emphatically and consistently teach our children to expect like Karen. Karen expects, if she gets in trouble, to be released. She expects a judge to hear every word she says. And when the judge looks like he's not going along with it, she expects to cry and change his mind. That's the system we're in. Now, what's bad about that, though, and Shealey, you need to hear this. When I go to court, because I was one of the first blacks to go to Savannah, okay, for a full year of integration. And so I was in school with nothing but white people. And I saw what they expect. I saw how they act. But I decided I would be white. I decided when I go to court, I won't be treated like white people. I want white justice. I don't want that stuff y'all been giving black folks. Now, people say, "Well, Pastor Small, you know you can say some things." I'm telling you what God loves. I'm telling you the truth. I do not expect to be treated anywhere other than blonde-haired and blue-eyed. And when I'm not treated that way, I go to appeal it at the Court of Appeals, and then I go before the Supreme Court and have done this now. Okay, argue before the Georgia State Supreme Court myself, for myself. And
All right now.
spank your baby if you bad. Just spank your baby if you bad. Make
All
your
right now.
old man go to work even if he ain't got a job. Leave the house. So here's the question. If I wake up at some point in time in November and I have a Senator Tamara Johnson, and she calls Pastor Small. Pastor Small, I want you to come to Washington with me for my oath of office. And I want you to do the prayer. Now, she's thinking, sitting right here next to me, that I'm going to say, I'll be there, baby, with a bow on. And actually, that ain't true. My administrative assistant, Henrietta, tell you, I ain't going to let them. I don't do that. I don't do the dog and pony stuff. I'll come. I'll be in Washington. But I'm going to be asking you for things, for the community, for people, for the incarcerated, for the kids going to the school that's almost falling down around them. That's what I'm going to be about. I have never been the show pony. I helped design. I was a founder of the Raphael Gilbert Civil Rights Museum. Didn't go to the grand opening. I designed and suggested the design, and I designed the base of the Civil Rights Monument on River Street. I didn't go to the ribbon cutting. Now, why would you not do that? Because a lot of people show up wanting credit for what they didn't do, and it make my stomach hurt. And my purpose was just to get the monument and get the museum. It's not to take the cakewalk. And so I need, Sister Johnson, I need you to not be about the cakewalk.
I'm about reparations. I'm about reparations, and I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm about reparations. My agenda is to create the reparations administration. The same way we have the Social Security Administration, the same way we have the Veterans Administration, we need the Reparations Administration. We need a federal agent that will house our redress. This is generational work that has to happen. Oh, absolutely. I do talk about cutting the check because America owes us a debt.
Get the money.
They're gonna have to pay us.
Pay the money.
They owe us this debt.
Don't give me a plaque. Give me some money. And I don't care if ain't no black people on it. I want the dead white men. Okay? and no, bring it to me. Now, you took the money, give me back the money. Okay? You didn't just take attitude. You took money from me. Now, how did you take money? Y'all didn't have any. You took money from the ground that I plowed. You took money from the cotton that I picked. You took money from the tobacco that I cut. You took money. I want money. Well, we'll give you a break to go to school. No, give me the money. Cut the check. Well, if we give you money, you will be broken in a few days. Well, you got the money. You ain't broke.
Okay. And we know how to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Come on. Because we've had to do it. We've had to do it. So what's some of your background for my radio?
So I have a master's degree in law from Emory University.
Emory? You know I went there, they cut.
They cut? Oh,
yeah. I got a liver transplant in Emory. Little short Chinese woman about this tall.
Oh, no.
Man, cut my guts out.
She sound like she was good.
If you go to Emory, take your own knife. Because if they cut you, you're going to be cut. Yeah, but they took
good care.
Oh, my God. I have not seen a hospital more professional, more cordial, and competent than Emory University right here in the state of Georgia, the city of Atlanta. And most people don't realize much of the development of Moderna vaccine took place at Emory. Most people don't know that. And I want people to know, listen, you get sick. They say you died, call Emory. Because I was dying, and I called Emory. And I ain't dead. And I ain't dead. Got down to days. Was down to, and I don't do hyperbole or exaggeration because both of those are lies. Okay? I was down to days. Yep. Praise God. Yeah. Nobody but the Lord.
Amen.
I'm preaching tomorrow.
Amen. Right here
right here.
Missionary Baptist Church.
Thumping
on Shell Road, everybody. What's the address? 2335 Shell Road. Come on now. What time is service?
10 o'clock for Sunday school, 11 o'clock for worship service. Yes, and make sure you understand, I will scream at you. Okay,
shouting, Pastor.
We are not coming in here to play with you. Okay, and we're not trying to lecture, pontificate, or make a speech. I'm not a speaker. I'm a preacher.
There it is, y'all. I almost took off running down the street. He started talking. I was like, Pastor, don't make me take off running.
And they do that.
Okay.
And they do. So
Well, I have I'll tell you, I have my master's is in law from the university. My bachelor's is in computer information systems. So I'm a little techie.
okay.
I come from the beauty and barber industry. For 27 years, I've been in the industry. 18 years, I did services myself. 10 years, I owned a salon. But for the last decade, I have addressed policy state to state that affects the beauty and barber industry. So I'm well versed in politics, policy, and reading bills. And I'm ready, and I'm prepared, and I love us as a people. And America has to be very intentional about getting it right with Black America. You get it right with Black America, you get it right with all America. And I actually have a slogan on the other side of this campaign to this primary election, is that reparations will make America great. And I've already been talking to the Republicans, because it's like, this is an issue that we're going to have to reach across the aisle, obviously, right? And I've already been talking to them, and they understand in many ways how this can work. I take my emotions out of it. And when I talk to them, I talk about how, number one, it will stimulate the economy in this country. What do you think we're going to do with the money? We're not going to burn it up. We're going to spend it. It's going to go right back into this system right here in this country. We are innovators. We're creators. Let's get this country rolling with the next generation. This is a global society now. We need innovation. We need new things to happen. Invest in Black people. We'll show you how to make it happen.
Well, let me tell you what had happened was.
What had happened?
What had happened was the COVID came along and made some of us stay home. And therefore, we had to get creative like we used to do with food when we didn't have it. And that's how we got the chitlins and the hog maw. But here's what people need to understand. During that period, getting creative caused many of us to start businesses for the first time. Home businesses. And as a result of it, you're seeing signs all over fast food land. We're hiring, because the folks who used to fill those jobs are now having small incubator businesses that are supplying their needs, and they're able to do that and take care of their kids at the same time. And so what we've got to recognize is we are creative, we are innovative. We will take a little and use it to make a lot. That's just how we had to do it. And therefore now it's a part of our DNA. When you said you had some sons, in a time like this, when I've been put upon, okay, and I was beat up by some fellows on a golf course, and when I was grown, okay, after a year. And the local police snatched justice from me on behalf of those kids, those young white soldiers who beat me up. Sorry. I sued them. I told you I go to court, right? Okay. And I get white folks stuff when I go to court.
Okay.
They paid me.
Okay.
They paid me. I bought a radio station.
Amen.
I bought my second radio station off their money. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now you're feeding all of us with information.
Yeah. I'm just telling you how it really goes. When God's on your side, it pressure down, you pop up. And so what I really want to say now is we need people in Congress, in the Senate, even in the White House and other places, who understand the level of jeopardy the young Black male is in when he's stopped by police. Now, what most Blacks in Savannah, and most definitely Blacks across the state of Georgia don't know, is we in Savannah have an out-of-control police department under a non-caring Black police chief. Oh, yeah, I say it. I don't sneak up on it. So here's the thing: if you got a police department where 34 police involved shootings have taken place in the last couple of years, how do you still have that chief? Now, but then one white fella, a tourist, was shot and I believe killed last week. And so this week at City Hall, all of a sudden, this non-caring black so-called man of Savannah, now they put together a committee that they're gonna get a couple of people that they're gonna get $45 a piece sold to study how are we gonna reduce crime. When I've been telling them how to reduce crime for the last 6 or 7 years, but they won't do what I tell them because then I'm gonna get credit. I've never seen stupid so tall. You know, stupid's usually kind of short. Not stupid coming in way up here.
Extra long.
Extra large, you know, with fries on the side. And I'm saying simplicities, but he's always, every time it's something to do with us, it's a committee attached to it that nothing's come from. Every time it's something to do with them, every time it's something to do with them, it's a budget, it's a project, okay? It has to be executed. It's got to be executed now. Therefore, for the last 2.5 years, we get nothing in an economy that's soaring. Savannah is probably economically moving faster than any place else in the state of Georgia. And I'm the guy who's all over the state because of our own radio station, but besides that, I'm called in, you know, to consult in trouble areas. And I'm telling you, in no uncertain terms, we're building million-square-foot warehouses as if we were building dog houses, just that way.
I see them along I-16. I'm like, what is coming? It's coming. Something's coming because they're building for it. They're preparing for it.
And I'm telling you, this will be the logistics hub for the entire East Coast. Now, so how can it be that in the city of Savannah, which was 56% African American 10 years ago, and we're 58 or 59, depending on who you ask, based on the last census, 49, 49 or 48, based on the last census. For the first time since slavery, we are simply the largest minority in the city. We still control our destiny, but I'm telling you the point of the matter is we are being systematically displaced. Okay, now they call it regentrification, which is an insult, because that means the people coming in are gentry, and the people who are being put out are not gentry. And you got to remember now, language and its subliminal effects set the mindset in the heart. So this is regentrification to them. I don't like the word because if they displace me as a result of their economic strength, then I wasn't gentry. Sitting here in the front of Litway Missionary Baptist Church, serving as the pastor for these 38 odd years. Why don't I have the approval to be numbered among the gentry? So I don't like that term. My term is a better term and more accurate. It is economic resegregation. And that dog will hunt. All you got to do is feed it. Tell it like it is. Stop playing games with us through smooth verbiage. We need to understand that every place we rise, they make new rules. And what we've got to do is start pointing that out in every case. Everything, for instance, right now, Raphael Warnock should be aware of what happened with federal monies. When they brought the PPP money here, they set up, and the mayor was on TV saying that the application period was open on Monday. This was on Thursday night. And if any of you all are going to be included in this, you got to get down. And he was really talking to black folks as if they were too stupid to go and apply. Okay, and that was the tone. So he's talking, and don't say later on that you didn't have a chance to get it. So 8:30 on Monday morning, we've got several black businesses that people went down and tried to apply for the PPP money. 8:30 Monday morning, the money was gone. It was already gone. So where's the money, you might ask? They had already given out the money to 42 businesses before the application period opened. They gave out federal money to 42 businesses before the application period opened. 40 of them were non-black. 2 were black. In a city that was reputed at that time to be 50% black. Now you tell me that we're not in trouble. You tell me that our senators should not have come to see about it. You tell me why I should feel good about that. I voted for it. I championed this cause. You can go back on my Facebook page and hear my shows where I said we're going to vote for the young man that grew up down the street, around the corner from us. A young boy from this church was on his commercial and with his mother from this very church. So here's what I'm saying, and I'm speaking as much to Ms. Shealey as I am to everybody out here. We've got to get to the point where folks don't get our votes and neglect our circumstances. You cannot get our votes and continue to neglect our circumstances. Now, I can't vote for the Republicans because I know they hate us. But I can't sit here with Johnson Shealey and point out the inequities and unfairness and the neglect. Because the last thing black folk need to be is discouraged from voting for black folk, because at some point in time, we'll have one that we need to vote. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Sometimes you just have to take a moment and let it settle.
Let's you can play this over and over. You can play this as often as you feel like. You know why? I'm a man. I'm not a gentleman. I'm not trying to get along with folks. I'm trying to do what's right before the Lord. My mother's 100 years old. My mother didn't raise a cow. And my wife married a man. We work with that.
Let that settle. What do you do with that? Nothing about it. You just let it settle.
So now I still got questions because my radio listeners, they're on me. Now we've got other issues. We've got a few other issues. I've stated my claim and why I'm here.
The weeping time. You gotta make sure you go there.
Oh, the weeping time. The weeping time.
Also, people can see that shirt.
Okay. Let me sit up. The weeping time. The weeping time was the single largest sale of slaves in American history. I did not know, and I feel when I think about this. I've been involved in civil rights since I was 10 years old. Marching in front of a store back and forth with signs on my front door. Conscious of what I was doing. I did not find out until 7 years ago that the single largest sale of slaves in American history took place in Savannah, out on Augusta Avenue. 516 runs through it. Never should have been there. 516 should have never gone across that land. Bartow School is what they call Francis Bartow School. It's now named after a friend of ours, Otis Brock Elementary. Should have never been built on it. Even though we needed a school in the neighborhood, we should never build a school there. And so when we find out about it, when you know better, you do better. So now we're fighting to save it and preserve it for history and posterity. So I helped to elect 7 African Americans to city council for the first time. We had a supermajority First time in history. 3 of them flip on. The mayor and 2 of the black folks that I helped. One, I flipped this district right here. I supported a woman over a man whose husband and wife got married in that building by me. But he did something that he shouldn't have done and neglected us on an item. And I told him it was a drop dead thing and he wasn't willing again. And if I tell you a puppet can pull a freight train, you know the rest of the story. So he's not on council anymore. But the one I replaced him with flipped on. Now, so they voted to allow the Salvation Army to build on this site. We have them in court. This is the weeping time. This is a commemorative t-shirt. Now, I did not know, because I looked at her on TV, she looked a little bigger.
You know I was real tiny.
Now, I didn't know she was that tiny. I knew she was slim, but I didn't know she was that slim. Anyway, yeah. She ain't, God Almighty.
They're going to feed me before I leave here.
I'm wondering if she got back pockets on the pants. So, this is for you.
Thank you.
Amen. So I want people to understand, we are in a fight. They say you can't sue City Hall. We are suing City Hall. We are in a fight in court to save the Weeping Time property. And even as we speak, in a city that's got 7 so-called African American. Now, you've got 4 that voted with us, okay? And 3 who are champions. I mean, tooth and nail. Tooth and nail. Alicia Miller Blakely, former armed services person, Bernetta Lanier, and Keisha Gibson Carter, who they made so mad the other day. Now, the election is, what, 18 months away. Next November.
Oh, next November.
Not this November. They made us so mad the other day. She told them, I'm going to run for mayor now.
Look, she announced already.
She announced already. They made us mad. They made that baby mad. I've been trying to get her to do it, but they ran her hot. And she said, I ain't got to be. They took her off some kind of ceremonial position on council. Just, you know, they petty. And she was the clerk of the council, chief, something of the council anyway. And they took her down from that position just to show her, you know, just make an example of her. She said, well, I ain't got to be that no more. I'm going to be the mayor.
Well, there it is.
And guess what? And she going to be the mayor. She going to be the mayor. I'm going to spend some of y'all money. We're going to get this done. So I said, Pastor, are you serious? Am I serious? I'm as serious as a funeral with forecasters. I'm serious. I'm not playing. No. And I'm telling you, it's about now the bougies, they can go where they want to go. But the regular people, they vote small. Now, is that a brag? No. That's just a fact. Because they know when they're in trouble, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Gonna call small, that crazy people. But then they can't do anything with me. Don't have no bad habits. I live holy, saved, sanctified, and filled. Covered by the blood. Covered by the blood. And you can't get a scandal. Don't drink, smoke, cuss, lust, nothing, 0. Did it all, quit it all. But let's talk about the Ukraine. Oh, by the way, I've talked to Raphael and Warnock staff over and over. Tried to get him to chime in on this. The other day, some white folks were trying to, quote unquote, economically segregate again a portion of a place that used to be called West Broad Street. That's now Martin Luther King Boulevard. So how come they come up with a slogan, reclaim Old West Broad Street, when it's called Martin Luther King Boulevard? Now, these are the people who didn't want it to ever be called Martin Luther King Boulevard and are prepared to remove the ramp coming into Savannah that lands on Martin Luther King Boulevard. Okay? Now, they say, no, we're not trying to change the name. But that's why the committee was first formed. Okay, they want to wipe out anything to do with black people. And you got to understand, it's inculcated in the city because the largest monument to anything in the city is in the Forsyth Park. And it's the tallest monument in town, and it's dedicated to the Confederacy to this day, to this right now. And we didn't move or take down one Confederate monument through all that process. You go to Richmond, Virginia, the capital of the Confederacy, they took them down. But in Savannah, the families of two Confederate officers, a general and a colonel, sent letters saying those monuments should be removed and placed at their grave sites. You go to Forsyth Park, they're still there. They're still there because this man does not have the resolve to do anything for black folk. Now, I'm not against the homosexual population, not against people. But now he could put rainbows in City Hall, but not one Black Lives Matter sign, not a button, not a pin, not a mention. I'm just telling you what God loves. I'm telling you that. We don't need that kind of leadership. That's why I'm sitting here next to him. That's why I'm sitting here. And people need to know that at some point in time, win, lose, or draw, we need to exercise our options. We need to send signals, if nothing else, to let them know we're not done, we're not dead, we're not going anywhere. So I said, well, you can go back to Africa. I ain't never been to Africa before. I got grown. Why would I go back to Africa? I'm doing some things. And I want people to understand this person who I'm sitting next to is going to affect outcomes for people. If not now, soon. The raw determination, audacity, and tenacity necessary for her to be here speaks to the fact that she's not waiting to get orders of testing wind to see which way it's blowing. The mere fact that she's sitting here speaks to the idea that I'm going to do what I feel is right, regardless of how other people think about it, which is very, very, very akin to a young black preacher that happen to be, well, I'm not so young anymore, but a preacher who's sitting here next to me. Because I don't let nobody pick my friends, and I don't let anyone else define my causes. And in order for her to be running against Raphael, Gamaliel, Warnock, in this race, in this place, at this time, speaks to your character and your courage. And I like that. I like that a lot.
It is extremely my calling. Again, I didn't choose this. I would have never chosen this. And I'm going, in obedience to God is calling. Because I know it's hot, and I just want to say how much I appreciate you. I love Savannah. I love Georgia. I love you. And I am committed to serve. And I'm committed to making America do right by us. I am committed to that.
Which part of Savannah?
I went to Johnson High School.
You went to Johnson?
Warnock and I were there together.
You and Raphael was in Johnson together.
And we were on the Upward Bound program at Savannah State.
I remember that.
Yeah, we were there together. He maybe a year or two older than I. But yeah, we were together over at Johnson.
He had folks calling him Gamaliel at the time. His middle name.
I never knew that.
Yeah, see, and unless you've been around, you wouldn't know certain things.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, but having said that, he was always very smart, of course, and charismatic, and that's worked for him. But right now, I wanted to work for us, you know, and if nothing else, I want to send a signal that we're coming and we're not playing. I want to send a signal and a message. But there are things that we should be fighting for that we're not fighting. The agenda, even for the president, has been prioritized in the first thing they should have dealt with was voting. The first thing they should have dealt with was voting, because it is in the voting that the Republicans are going to take a country from being a democracy and make it an autocracy. We are in jeopardy. We came a hair's breadth from having a dictator just a little over a year ago. Somebody said, well, no, it wasn't that close. Yes, it was. Because had they been able to catch the vice president or the vice president-elect, Speaker of the House, or anybody like that, and take them in the bellies of the most secure building on the planet, and had held them there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Most people don't realize it was only 2 weeks from then would have been the inauguration day. Okay? January 20th. This was January 6th. 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks of hostage holding and negotiation, all of the votes taken across the United States would have been null and void. They would have been gone. You know what I'm saying, Fred? They would have been gone. And then it would have gone to the House of Representatives, and each state would have gotten one vote. And there are 26 states who would have voted for Donald J. Trump, and he would have legally remained president of the United States. Those are facts of law that most people don't realize how close it was. I lectured on the spread of communism in the Western Hemisphere back in the 80s, the theory of the dialectic. Y'all can look that up. But my point being simply this: studying governments that have been overthrown, we were as close as you get for it not to have taken place. And you gotta remember this: over 70 million Americans voted for a prolific liar and absolute racist. Sometimes you have to know where you are. And therefore you need people like Tamara Shealey, whose agenda is not about her. It's not about what she'll have, where she'll go, how fine she'll be. We need people like the woman that they call the squad. So we know it can be done. We know people can stand for things. Presley and those people up there, they are in the storm. They're talked about, they're ridiculed, and they're threatened of their lives. And they still stand. They are the modern day Fannie Lou Hamer. They are the modern day Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. And guess what? I know you might feel funny when I say it, but you are. They don't like it because they just don't like you. They don't like you to stand for. They don't like the possibility of you existing. But here's the fact: we need you. We need you to do what you're doing. We need you to speak up, stand up, be in opposition of things that are not in our best interest. We literally need you to make sure that we are represented well in the portals of our government. Don't you see me doing something down here in helicopter? What is wrong with you? Making all that noise. That's a neighborhood. As you can tell, I don't take myself seriously. I'm a serious person. I'm a fanatical Christian, but I don't take myself too serious. But I just want people to know this, that we're doing this for a reason. We're not just out here, profiling. We're not just out here posturing. We actually have purpose. We actually have a hope, and we need people who will not be stuttering on our behalf. A little louder, but they can't.
Oh, they can't hear me. Oh, she kept telling me to talk louder. I appreciate you, Pastor.
You a lady, that's why.
Yeah, I'm I'm ready to serve. I mean, election day, everybody is May 24th. Early voting is Monday.
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 Right.
Early, where are the early voting sites here in Savannah? Are they like?
I can't remember. They're all over because we have good people fighting to make sure that the elections are done properly. We now I talked about our mayor, but we have a black county commission chairman, Reverend Chester Ellis, who's on it. We have a African American DA over the county, Selena Cook Jones. We have an African American tax commission. Okay, and so we've got folk in place, and even among the whites, some of the whites we got in place, we've got some really good folk that we've been able to support down through the years and have supported us. Like our sheriff. Our sheriff is a Jew. I mean, anybody can call him, white and Republican, but anybody can call him direct. You know, that he gonna send you to the stand. Hello, Mr. Sheriff, Donna Wilkie, what can I do for you? When he was sworn in, and you know I'm the blackest preacher in town, but when he was sworn in as sheriff, because I did help him get elected, and we've been friends 30, 40 years. It was the judge, it was him, it was me, then it was his wife. And I turned to his wife and said, on this day that you hope all these years, you should be sitting next to your husband, and she's about your size, and how they ever talk? This nice lady, not because she can't, she I love her. And I said, you should be sitting next to her. She said, you sit where we say you sit. On this day, and the picture in the newspaper got me looking at her like this because she just said it. What? And here's the other thing. It would have been easy for him to say, well, no, I don't want that controversial guy standing next to me for these shots in the paper. Didn't I tell you I don't go to stuff like that? So he begged me, Leonard, you need to come because you prayed over Sheriff St. Lawrence. He was in there for 25 years. I just want you to come and do the invocation. Just please. I need to start with prayer. Laying on my preacher's bed. So I go. I sit down in the audience. My time to pray, I'm just gonna walk up there and pray and probably leave. So they asked me to come back in the green room. I don't even know there's a green room. So I get back there, there's a bunch of judges, sheriffs, and dignitaries. Then they put us in a line, walk outside. I'm sitting on the front row, next between him and his wife. You know, I ain't feeling this. I'm not feeling that at all. And all them phony people who didn't vote for him was starting to have that, oh, yes, I'm mad because that's how I am. And the didn't support him, didn't come out for him. But it's Jesus. That's why I don't go to them things. Vexation in my spirit. Vex. That's old folks' word, but it's good English.
You know what it means. Everybody, I think we're almost at the top of the hour. Yeah. Are we there? Yeah. I think we are. Yep. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to say, please get out. Early voting starts this Monday, May 2nd. Election day is May 24th. Be intentional about that vote. It is your currency and it is your life. So be intentional about that vote. Pastor, I just want to say thank you again for giving me an opportunity to share and hearing me with your heart. And everybody, I just want to say thank you again. Encourage everybody to get out and vote. Our lives depend on this.
And the lives of our children.
And the lives of our children and our children's children. This is generational work that has to be done. And this is how we address Black America. It's right here and it's right now. So thank you.
Thank you. You out here?